Lone Star Community Radio presents the Lone Star Radio Hour. For the next hour, you will hear locally produced radio plays from different groups around Montgomery County. If you're interested in the Lone Star Radio Hour and you want us to run one of your programs that you produced, just contact us at lscrstudios at gmail.com. If you are interested in recording your own show here at the studio, you can just contact us. And we're also looking for sponsorships for this time slot. So, again, just contact us at lscrstudios at gmail.com. You can also visit the Lone Star Radio Hour online at irlonestar.com/LSRH. That's irlonestar.com/LSRH. For all the plays on on-demand format. The following radio play you're about to hear is produced by the Players Theater Company in Conroe, Texas. For more information on the Players, check them out online at www.owentheater.com/players.
Live from the Owen Theater, located in the glittering arts and entertainment district of downtown Conroe, Texas, comes the Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour. This is Dennis Nelson, your series host. Tonight, we welcome our vintage radio fans into the new year. Our double feature was resurrected from a mysterious and dark anthology series, which first invaded airwaves in the 1930s. Often supernatural and always thrilling, Lights Out constantly pushed the envelope on the imaginative and the macabre. The most popular host for this series was gifted writer Arch Obler, who focused not on cheap horror tricks, but on the monsters lurking inside all of us, in a series often so unsettling that it carried a disclaimer warning that the faint of heart should turn off their radios. You'll meet the wartime Obler tonight as we travel back to this chilling tale from yesteryear. But first, let's briefly introduce tonight's star-studded ensemble. The first portion of our double feature brings us to a shadowy island, and on it we find the delightful Sarah Price as Dale Corday, the ubiquitous Kelly Strang as Williams, and the versatile Eric Watts as Joe.
That's Josa.
Josa?
Josa.
Excuse me?
Josa. My name's Josa, Dennis.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, okay. We'll just try not to burst out laughing when we get to your part.
Gee, thanks.
I would say that you're a girl with a face made for radio. Just goes to show you the audience in the theater gets a completely different experience from those listening in at home. For the second half of our program, we'll be joined by the talented Caleb Fields as the policeman, the posh and glorious Jeff Evans as the bank official, the stellar Orvis Melvin as the psychologist, bright new Remy Seaman as the bank guard, debonair David Herman as the judge, masterful Sean Thompson as the shop owner, riveting Michael Robbie as Mr. Roth, and enchanting Donna Gilling as Miss Moss. Now that our guest is introduced, let's remind you that the Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour is just part of a celebration of the past every Sunday night on Lone Star Internet Radio. Tune in to Retro Sundays with Tina right before this show, starting at 5 p.m. Then after our show, stay tuned for Lone Star Classical Music After Dark with Gordon. Now, sit back, relax if you can, as we visit the enigmatic and chilling theater of the mind. The Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour presents
Lights Out, everybody. It is later than you think.
Lights Out brings you stories of the supernatural and supernormal, dramatizing the fantasies and mysteries of the unknown. We tell you this frankly, so if you wish to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginative plays, we urge you calmly but sincerely, turn off your radio now.
This is our Chobler. Tonight, the story of a strange inheritance. An island as large as the State of the Union in a far distant tomorrow.
And now,
If you haven't already done so, turn out your lights now, as we bring you Profits Unlimited.
It just doesn't make sense.
Don't it, miss?
But why must you row me there?
I told you, miss. No boat can get past the reef.
But surely my grandfather can afford a powerboat.
Last one sank 5 years ago.
Then why doesn't he... Oh, what's the use of asking any more questions? I've asked, and every answer just gets me more mixed up than I was before.
It's all very simple, miss.
Simple.
All just a question of money.
What do you mean? Money.
10 generations the Cordays have lived and died on the island, and it's all just a matter of money.
But my father...
Yes, all but your father. He was the one they called the fool.
Mr. Williams, I don't think you've any right to...
It isn't a matter of right or wrong, miss. It's what they said.
How much further is there to go? I can't see...
Yes, mist is always heavy this time of morning. We'll be there soon enough. Aye, all a matter of money.
Oh, why don't you talk words that mean something? You're like my father was. We could talk perfectly sanely about anything in the world, but the moment I spoke about the island and my ancestors, then there wasn't any clarity or logic anymore. Why don't you tell me what it's all about?
There's nothing to tell you that you won't know when we get there.
But tell me something.
Sun's rising. The mist'll lift.
Look, Mr. Williams, for 15 years, ever since I've been old enough to know what it's all about, I've been trying to get some information about my family. All I know is that for generations the Cordays have lived on this island. While my father was alive, I could never come here. But now he's dead, and I'm here, and I've got to know something about them. Anything. Yes, so that when I meet my grandfather, I'll know a little of what it's all about. Please, tell me.
It's all a matter of...
Don't say that again. Tell me something that means something to me. Rowing in the middle of nowhere. I tell you,
Wait, miss.
Wait, what?
Ahead. If you'll just look ahead of you.
Land.
Island always comes sudden like out of the water.
So many trees.
They're always green.
You're not rowing, and yet we move.
There's always a current.
I've waited so long to get here.
Aye.
We're moving so swiftly. Why, there's a landing pier.
Aye. Hold on, we'll bump. Now, I'll hold it if you'll jump.
All right.
You'll stand there, please. Wait for me.
Yes. No one here. My grandfather, where is he?
Are you afraid already?
Afraid? Well, why should I? Of course I'm not. But they knew I was coming here. My grandfather, why isn't he?
Through the trees. Look. You want clear answers? There's one of them.
Chimneys. Smoke. Factories? Yes, they are factories, aren't they?
Aye.
But factories? Here?
They've stood there for 10 generations.
On an island? In the middle of... Why here?
It's all a matter of money.
What? Tell me.
330 years ago, Pierre Corday came to this island and built them up.
But why here?
I'm telling you. I've been telling you all along. A matter of money. You know what money is. Well, it's been the day and the night and the sun and the moon of your family for as long as there's been one of you. Money. Aye, and here was the making of it. And the horror of it.
But why?
Let me tell you. You wanted to know. Let me tell you quick. His profits weren't big enough, Pierre Corday thought to himself, and the trouble was with the men in the factories, he decided. They wanted too much. Oh, yes, shorter hours, more money, and this and that. Oh, it was the men at the machines who were to blame. If he could get men who'd never want, but only work. Yes, then he got an idea. If he could find a place where only he'd be the boss, where there'd be no organizers and investigators and boards of arbitration, then he'd tell the men what to do and they'd do it. And up with the profits and out with the headaches. And an island, aye, a private island, that was the answer.
And this was it.
Aye, it. Beyond the jurisdiction of any man but one of the name of Corday. So here he moved his factories, machine after machine, and when everything was set up, he sent out to the places where men walked the streets looking for work, and he said, "Listen to me, you single ones. You're hungry, so listen to me. I've a place where there's work for you. Easy work. Work at the machines. You sit all day, and you don't have to think. The machines think for you. You sit all day and do the same thing over and over and over. And I'll pay you well, and I'll pay you regular. Aye, a life job if you'll do what I say all your lives."
And men came here.
Aye, why not? There was plenty in those days tired of worrying about bread and a place to sleep. So they said to themselves, "The devil with the city. We'll go where he says, as long as there's food and there's drink." So here they came. 500 picked ones, all set for life jobs in the factories of Pierre Corday. Came here 330 years ago.
My grandfather, take me to
And
him.
the things the machines was making were shipped all over the world. And the profits began coming in fast, because now the machines were working at a price that was right for Pierre Corday. But the workers had life jobs, so for a while it was all right, and at first everybody in the world was talking about the factory on the island. But the months and the years went by, and the world forgot. But the machines kept on turning, and the money kept on coming in.
But why is there smoke coming out of the factories now?
500 of them, and they sat down at the machines and started working. And Pierre Corday bought women for them to mate with. And my kin was with them, and the machines started turning.
But the factories, they're still working. Why?
Listen, you wanted me to tell you, so listen. Listen to the rest. 330 years ago, and each had his own bit of work at the machines. One to press a lever here, and the other to turn a screw here. Same work, hour after hour, day after day. And the months went by, and the profits kept on coming in. But some of them began to get tired of it. Tired of the machines. Fools they were from the start. Pierre Corday picked them that way. Still, they got tired. They wanted to get back to the changing life of the rest of the world. "Give us hunger," they said, "but give us change." They said that, aye, but they didn't get what they wanted.
Then why didn't they go away?
Where? To drown in the sea? Some did.
But my great whatever he was, why didn't they go to him?
Some did. The answer was work or starve.
Then why didn't they rebel?
Aye, and some did that, and died for the trying.
Died?
Aye, money can always buy men who'll kill. They say that of the 500 men who came here, at the end of 2 years, half of them had fattened the sharks in the harbor.
It isn't possible.
Ah, it all isn't possible. An island in the middle of nowhere with spinning machines and men at 'em. None of it's possible. But here it is. 330 years old, and still the same as it was.
Tell me, you mean in those factories are... What? What?
Watch.
People. Marching. Who are they?
10th generation of them Pierre Corday brought and kept here.
The way they walk. Heads down. Arms hanging. Men like... My grandfather, take me to him.
Take you to him.
Yes, take me to my grandfather.
Your grandfather's dead.
Dead!
The island and they belong to you. Believe.
His grave is so new.
2 weeks. I buried him myself.
Did he send for me before he...
No, 'Twas me.
You.
Me. I knew that you were the last one of 'em left, and I wanted you here.
But why?
I said it, didn't I? You're the last Corday. 330 years, and you're the last.
Why is the factory working so late?
That's the second shift. They're 2 a day.
All night?
Aye.
But why?
It's been that way for 330 years.
It's not true. None of it.
No.
I won't listen to you anymore.
Wait. Wait. Where you going, girl?
Down there.
But you can't go there now.
I'm going to the factory. Talk to them. Find out the truth.
No, they won't like it.
What are you talking about?
They don't like to be disturbed when they're working. They've been trained to keep working. The rhythm of production, your grandfather called it. They don't like to be stopped.
But I don't believe you. I'm going to find out for myself.
All right. All right. Find out for yourself. I want you to do that. Aye. Talk to them. Talk to them. Talk to them. Talk to them.
Row on row of men and women and children.
Aye. Why not the children? The more hands, the more production. That was the law of the Cordays, the law of the island.
Their faces empty.
Machines do the thinking.
But they sit so quietly, not talking. None of them. Williams, why is this? Crouching over their tools like animals. Are they always like this?
When the whistle blows, they eat. When it blows again, they march back to the barracks behind the factory.
Barracks?
Aye, barracks. Kennels. Name it what you want. That's where they live. Live until after 12 hours the whistle calls them back to work.
But the children...
I told you the children do like the rest. They work as soon as they can walk. That's been the law of the Cordays for over 300 years without change. It's the only law they know. Look at this worker, Miss Corday. Look at him, I tell you.
What is he making?
Look at his face. Lovely thing, ain't it? And his blood is the same as their blood, mixed together all through the factory. Look at him, Miss Corday. Yours. Yours, I tell you. Yours. All yours. To sit here at the machines until the flesh rots from their bones and they drop in their places. You inherit 'em. 1,000 of 'em. Ain't you proud of your inheritance?
What is he making?
What does it matter what they're making? The things they're making ain't been shipped from this island in 100 years.
What?
Aye, for 100 years they've been at the machines, but it's like a dog chasing his tail, without beginning and end. What comes out of the last machine is brought back to the first machine and broken up and started all over again. Nobody wants what they're making, and nobody gets what they're making. And as far as the 1,000 of them are concerned, all that matters in life is that what's been trained in the blood and the nerves of them, they can do over and over and over. I ask you again, Miss Corday, ain't you proud of your inheritance?
Why don't they stop?
Stop? Stop? How can you stop a rhythm that's been in the blood for 10 generations?
Why don't they talk?
Ah, you're scared now, Miss Corday.
They'll talk to me. Of course they will. This one. This one. You, I beg your pardon. Would you stop work a moment and talk to me? I said, would you stop work a moment and talk to me? Williams, doesn't he hear me?
He hears you.
Then why doesn't he even turn his head?
Not him, not any of them.
I don't believe you. This woman, she'll... Lady, would you please stop work and talk to me?
Scared to look at him.
Lady, talk to me. I'm Dale Corday.
Aye, scared all right.
I insist that you talk to me. Doesn't answer.
I told you, not while they work. Oh, your family bred 'em right.
Bread.
Yes, like you breed dogs the way you want 'em. Pierre Corday's idea, too, and it worked. Yes, look at him, see how it worked. See that one, long fingers for delicate work. And this one, hands of him tough enough to reach right into the forge. Yes, for 330 years, bred to sit and work and no nonsense. Never to talk up for their rights, just sit and work the way they're told. You stand there looking at me. You don't believe me, do you? Well, try to get him to stop work. Try to get him to say something to you. Try to get him to act like human beings. Well, they're not human beings. They're workers. Yes, workers for the family of Corday. And what are you gonna do about it?
Let's take just a moment now from this tense situation for a very important message. The current Players Theater Company season at the Owen is absolutely fantastic. Upcoming productions promise toe-tapping melodies, burning passion, whimsical romance, and riotous laughter.
2015 brings even more with a comedy full of wit, charm, and, frostbite in Almost Maine.
Which then leads into that pressure cooker of passion, Tennessee Williams' masterpiece, A Streetcar Named Desire.
Going right into the musical family favorite, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma.
And then our season finishes up with a rollicking dancing comedy, Steppin' Out.
Wow, I've got my plans for the spring.
And you can make your plans now, too. For information on discount season tickets, go to owentheatre.com. That's OwenTheatre.com.
Be sure to join us as we continue our best season yet at the Owen Theatre.
Don't be afraid of me.
Who you?
I'm Dale Corday.
Corday. Boss,
Please don't tremble. What's your name?
Josa?
Josa what?
Josa.
Do you like it here?
Like? Like work here, no complaints. Like work here, no complaints. Like
No,
work
no,
here.
stop. They taught you that very well, didn't they?
Like work here, no complaints.
Wouldn't you like to leave this place? Sail away across the sea?
Like work here, no complaints.
Don't keep saying that. You don't understand what you say, do you? Look at me. Lift your face. Wouldn't you like to leave the factory and do what you please?
Like work here.
You've got to understand. You've got to talk to me. Why, you're the only one I see that has anything in her face. Oh, Josa, look at me. No, don't hang your head. Look at me. I'm your friend. I want to know about you. Don't be afraid. Talk to me. That pretty flower in your hair. What is it? The flower. What's it called? What's its name?
Joe, forget.
It's very pretty. What do you do in the factory, Josa? What is your work?
Like work here, no complaints.
Yes. Would you like to take a walk with me?
Walk?
Yes, through the valley, and show me the flowers.
No, no walk.
Why not?
Whistle blow soon, work begin.
You don't have to work if you don't want to. Come on.
No, whistle blow soon.
But I tell you it's all right. You don't have to go.
No, I go.
But I want you to stay here. You will stay here.
No, no,
You'll
let
stay
Joe go.
here and talk
Whistle
to me.
blow,
You'll
whistle blow
stay.
must work.
I'm only trying to help.
Let Joe go.
No!
Jolie, Jolie.
Well, now you'll believe.
She
I told you what would happen.
bit me. Like an animal.
When the whistle blows, they go to work. That's the law. It's in their blood.
In their blood, in their blood. I've had enough of that talk.
And what are you gonna do about it?
Close the factories.
What?
Yes, close them. Lock them. Shut them out.
You think you can do that?
You'll do it for me.
Will I?
Tonight, between shifts, lock and bolt the doors. You say that the rhythm of the factory's in their blood. All right, I'll stop it. You hear me, Williams? You'll close the factory tonight. Well,
Well, it's done.
good. Tomorrow you'll start me back to the mainland. I'll make arrangements to get those people off of here.
Will you now?
You're breathing so heavily.
Soon as I locked the doors, I ran all the way back.
Why?
I wanted to see your face.
What?
I wanted to see your face after the whistle blows.
Whistle.
Aye, it'll blow just as always.
But I told you that
And I did. I locked the factory. shut the big doors and threw the bolts. But the whistle's at the powerhouse, and some of them are always there. Aye, the whistle will blow, and they'll march to work.
But they won't get in.
Aye, here they come.
You'll start me to the mainland very early tomorrow, Williams.
It's a long way.
I know it. But it's got to be done.
Too long a way.
You've a sail. Tonight I'm putting an end to their marching. Tomorrow I'll... What's that? Williams, don't you hear it?
Aye, I hear it.
It's from the factory.
Aye,
As if they were breaking down the door.
aye.
Yes, that's what they're doing. Williams, don't stand there. Go. Stop them. Tell them the factory's closed forever. Tell them it's ended.
Go tell them yourself. They've broken in, gone back to work.
People, stop working and listen to me. Stop working, I tell you. I've got to talk to you. I've got to tell you important things. A little while ago, you broke down the door, but that was because you didn't understand what I was trying to do. And now I want to tell you, so listen to me. My name is Corday, and this factory, and an island and everything on it is my inheritance. I want to close this factory because I want to help you. Help you begin to live like human beings. Believe me, sitting in a machine for 12 hours a day doing something that means nothing to you, that isn't all there is to life. Living means using the machines just long enough each day to give you what you need, and the rest of the time should be yours for the things of life. Books to be read, full of new excitements and understanding, and wonderful music to be played and listened to, and the enjoyment of your homes and conversation and friendship, and travel to the world that's outside this island. Oh, so many things for you to learn, and so much life to be lived. I want to give you the time for that life. And why not? There aren't any chains holding you to these machines. You can be free of them now. Yes, now. And then you and I, we can work out a new way of life. Oh, you're not listening to me. None of you. People, listen. Why won't you turn away from your machines? Why won't you stop them? I want to help you. Listen to me, please. Just listen to me. Listen to me. All right, then, you'll listen to this. I'm going to burn the factory down. Do you hear me? If that's the only way to stop you, I'm going to burn it down. Burn it! Burn it! Burn it!
It's a good sea this morning for sailing.
Have you everything aboard?
Aye, supplies enough to get the boat there and back twice over.
Water?
Aye.
If there were only some way to communicate to the mainland without going there.
There's none.
What time is it?
Almost 7.
And we go when the tide changes?
Aye. Wind's freshening.
Listen. Listen in the wind. Do you hear it?
I hear.
What?
What do you think? It's them.
For 2 days. Never even going home.
They heard you say you'd burn it, and they're afraid.
Afraid I'd burn their cage. So they stay there watching. One shift works and the other watches.
That's how it is. But not their cage alone, Miss Corday.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's yours.
What?
One boat on the island. This. And in a couple minutes more, it won't be here.
What are you talking about? You and I are going to...
That's where you haven't got it straight, Miss Corday. Going, yes, but only me.
I've wanted to ask you this for days now. Why are you always trying to frighten me?
Now I've done it, eh?
The tide's turning. We'd better go.
Yes, I've scared you now, haven't I? Well, say it. Say it! Ah, you don't have to. It's in your eyes. Just the thought of being left here with them year after year. Nothing but them. Aye, it's enough to turn the insides of you white, ain't it? Why do you think I sent for you? I'll tell you, and I'll tell you quick, and then I'm off to sea. I sent for you because I'm a man born different from all the rest that were here. There were 3 kinds, workers, servants, and you Cordays. Well, servant I was, but in the borning of me a piece of hate got in my heart, and it kept growing through the years of me, and it's more than I am. A hate for a name, and the sound of the name, and those that have it. Corday. Well, you're the last of 'em, and here you'll stay with the sound of 'em, and the sound of the factory grinding in your ears until you're old as I am, and the hate for Pierre Corday and the rest of his kind is as old as mine is. The Cordays made their God prophets, and even when they didn't need the prophets, they couldn't stop what they started. Well, you're one of 'em, and I said before, and I say it again. This is your inheritance, an island and a factory and 1,000 perfect workmen who'll never want anything for themselves except the bit of food they grow, who'll sit at your machines until they rot and die. A perfect inheritance for a Corday. I leave it all for you until you rot and die.
Williams! Williams, come back! You don't understand! These people! I want to... Williams!
You cry? Me Joe.
Joe!
Me bad.
Bad? What are you...
Whistle blow, me no work.
Why?
Me want show you flower.
Oh, my dear.
You cry?
No, I'm not crying. There isn't time. I've so much to tell you. You first, and then the others, one by one.
You talk?
First, I want to tell you of freedom. Say it. Freedom.
Freedom.
300 years ago, my people and your people gave it up. My people wanted profits, but they lost their freedom to the machinery they set up to give them those profits. Your people wanted the security of a bare existence, and so, too, gave up their rights as men to the machinery of profit. But now we've got to win that freedom back again for all of us.
Freedom.
Come, we'll go to them. I've so much to try and tell them. Things that I understand now, that freedom is the essence of the good life for all men, and that security without freedom is a sham which turns men into regiments of less than men. I've so much to tell them. So much to tell them.
Mr. Obler, is that actually your prophecy for the future?
Oh, come, Dennis. We aren't dealing in prophecies, only in fantasy and fiction.
Would it really be possible for human beings to turn into animals taking care of machines?
Of course. That's part of the Hitlerian dream of permanent world conquest, which fortunately the bombs of the Air Corps and the RAF are rapidly making our enemy forget.
Join us for another exciting Lights Out tale immediately following a few more important words.
Are you tired of those boring, cliched, been there, done that beach destinations?
Are you looking for a romantic getaway with perhaps a bit of northern exposure?
Do you long for the atmosphere that only the aurora borealis can provide?
If you've answered yes to any of our questions, we have your travel plans already booked. You need to escape to...
Almost Maine.
Where else can you enjoy snowmobiling, heartbreaking reunions, romantic surprises, drinks at the Moose Patty, the Northern Lights, and quaint townsfolk, all from the comfort of the Owen Theater?
Almost Maine.
Book your trip now by visiting www.owentheater.com for this unique and entertaining comic destination that's full of love and loss as well in a cold, cold climate, just in time for Valentine's Day.
Almost Maine.
Oh, that's enough now. I'm going over to the Moose Patty. The Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour presents
Lights Out, everybody. It is later Then you think.
Lights Out brings you stories of the supernatural and supernormal, dramatizing the fantasies and mysteries of the unknown. We tell you this frankly, so that if you wish to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginative plays, we urge you calmly, but sincerely, to turn off your radio now. Mr. Obler, there's been something that I've really been intending to ask you. What is the meaning of that phrase used every episode, "It is later than you think"?
Well, Dennis, no one knows who first said it, but for centuries, sundials have borne that phrase, "It is later than you think." And it's as true today as it's always been. The meaning that the human lifespan is short and time is fleeting. And each of us have a few less moments than we think to live, learn, work, and perhaps mend our ways.
That's really fascinating, especially in these strenuous days. But tell us, what is the title of this next Lights Out play?
Come to the Bank. It's not an order, but the story of a woman who, for strange reasons which will become apparent, is determined to get us to the bank.
And now?
Lights out, everybody.
Please, would you come to the bank with me? Please. I've asked so many people, but they won't listen to me. Will you come to the bank with me? No, don't turn your head. Please don't go away. Listen, if I tell you very carefully why I want you to come to the bank with me, you will come, won't you? He's locked up in there. He can't get any air. No, don't get excited. I didn't say he was locked in the vault. All they've got in their vault is money. I don't care about money. All I care about is him. You've got to come to the bank with me and help me. It's Fred Roth. He's in the bank, and he can't get out. What are you laughing about? That's not so funny. I tell you, he's in the bank, and he can't get out. He's been in there for, I think it's 3 weeks. Blast you, stop laughing! Please listen to me. I'll tell you all about it. From the start. I'm a school teacher at the Matson High School. I teach physics. It's a rational science, cause and effect. Mr. Roth teaches in the same school. Psychology, the way of the human mind. But that's not an exact science, is it? The human mind's not exact at all. And that started it. That's what started it. Mr. Roth said to me,
"Well, speaking quite frankly and candidly, Miss Moss, I don't think very much of your exact sciences."
"Well, 2 and 2 always add up to 4, Mr. Roth."
Not where the human mind is concerned.
"I don't understand."
Well, it is my profound conviction that the potentialities of the human mind and body have never been realized in any human creature.
"But there have been great men. Plato, Lincoln, so many scientists."
Yes, but only fractional greatness, using perhaps 1/10 of a power latent within themselves. It's all a matter of concentration. Thomas Edison used perhaps 1 iota more concentration than the average man, and became one of the great inventors of all times. I tell you, Miss Moss, if men would concentrate their minds to the limit, the universe would be theirs.
That's a very innocent start, isn't it? Just a teacher talking about the human mind? I thought nothing of it. Dr. Roth was such an intense young man. I liked his intensity.
Just think what could happen if a man could bring his mind to the proper point of concentration. He could move objects with his mind. Yes, why not? Think that a table should move, and it would move.
Why, Mr. Roth?
Think that he wanted to be a certain place, and he would be there. Men conceived this civilization just by thought, and here it is. All is power of thought over matter. A man thinks a book before the book exists. He thinks a house, and only then the house can be. All is a power of mind over matter.
I liked to watch his eyes while he talked. They were so bright and burning, and his mouth as he talked, the way it twisted. I couldn't help liking Mr. Roth, could I? We had dinner together once.
Will you have coffee with your dinner or later?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The waiter wanted to know if you wanted coffee with your dinner.
Oh, no, no coffee.
Oui, monsieur.
Very nice of you to have dinner with me, Mr. Roth.
On the contrary, I'm grateful to you. You're a very good listener.
Oh, thank you.
I've done a great deal of work in the weeks since I last talked to you.
Have you? Please tell me.
Well, it isn't exactly work. It's more of a decision.
Yes?
Yes, I've come to the decision to stop theorizing. Yes, I decided to put what I believe into practice.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, it's quite simple. The powers of concentration I've decided to put into practice.
Pardon, monsieur. The fruit juice is for the lady?
What? Oh, yes, for the lady. Concentration, Miss Moss. I've decided to put into practice my theory of concentration. I don't want to anticipate, but I expect wonderful results, Miss Moss. I might even say unbelievable results.
Unbelievable results. Oh, must I tell you more? Please come with me to the bank. All right, I'll tell you the rest. The day after he talked to me in the restaurant, Mr. Roth didn't come to school. I know that because at lunchtime he wasn't in his usual place in the cafeteria. And when I asked, they told me that he had suddenly taken leave of absence and that an extra teacher was taking over his classes. I was very disappointed. A week went by, 2 weeks. I decided to go see him. I took a few days off from my work. I found out his home number. Friday morning, I bought a new dress, a very becoming one. Then I went to visit Mr. Roth. I was certain he wouldn't be angry with me. It was perfectly proper that I call on him, as a friend.
Aye, Mr. Roth, he's at home. Yeah, he's got the back 2 rooms. He's not been out of there for a week, though. Won't even let me go clean up. You go right ahead. Head of the staircase and to the right.
Mr. Roth? Are you in there? It's Miss Moss. Could I speak to you for a moment? Standing there knocking, I suddenly realized that the door was ajar. Was he... But he didn't answer, and yet the landlord had said he was at home. I pushed the door open farther and glanced through the opening. Mr. Roth! Mr. Roth! Dead! Oh, no!
No. I'm alive.
Oh, I thought... Oh, Mr. Roth, your face, the way you look. What?
No. Water. Glass.
Oh, yes. Here. Yes, here. Oh, you are sick.
I'm not sick. Water.
Here. Drink it. I'll hold it. Doctor. I'll call a doctor.
No, wait.
But you're ill.
Listen to me.
Yes.
I'm not sick.
Well, then what?
I told you.
But I don't know.
I've been sitting here for a week.
Sitting? For a week?
Concentration. Practicing concentration. Concentration. The experiment was most successful. Yes, most successful. I've proven that I can do what some of the Orientals profess to do. Slow down through concerted willpower the essential life processes. A week without food and water. Is that not a triumph, Miss Moss?
Well, I don't know. Mr. Roth, why do you do these things?
I'll try to explain it to you simply. The human thoughts are like rays of the sun, spreading in all directions. By the use of a lens, the rays of the sun can be focused on one point, and instead of a warmth there, There's a focal point of intense light that can burn its way through all obstacles, and so it is with human thoughts. If, through concentration, a man could focus them on one point, he would be a god among men. I tell you, Miss Moss, that I am confident that I, through training, can become that one man in a million. Even as muscles can be trained, so am I training my mind. And the day when my training is complete, I will be able to do anything I desire. You hear me? Anything. Anything. Anything!
When he said that, thin and weak and tired as he was, his eyes looked at me. I was afraid. For him. I made up my mind right then. The first thing was to get him out of that room. He ate, rested, and then went out with me.
I don't see why I let you talk me into this, Miss Moss. I have so much work to do.
The walk will do you good.
But where are we going?
Well, first I want you to come to the bank with me.
I beg your pardon?
Well, you see, I've been thinking of taking a little vacation and I need some money, going to withdraw some.
Oh, I see.
I too want to go off someplace where I can concentrate.
Oh, yes, most important.
Yes, have you thought about going out to the country?
These buildings, Miss Moss. Look at them. Steel and concrete. So firm, so solid, so enduring. You know something, Miss Moss?
Walking so fast,
Once upon a time, they were only ideas in a man's mind. Perhaps even now they have no solidity, but are just ideas hanging in air, through which a man with single-mindedness of purpose could walk as easily as if he were walking through air. Do you understand me, Miss Moss?
Well, I'm not sure. The country would be a wonderful place to work, now wouldn't it, Mr. Roth? We went into the bank. He kept talking about the powers of concentration. I hardly listened to him. All I could think about was that somehow I had to get him into a new environment. The foyer of the building where the bank was, we went in. People, elevators. Suddenly, Mr. Roth stopped. He stared at the wall. I said, Mr. Roth? Mr. Roth? What are you looking at?
This is the time.
Time? Time for what?
I told you, when my subconscious reached the proper point of incubation, I would know that my powers had reached the point where I could do anything.
Mr. Roth, please.
Anything, I tell you.
Let's go.
Well, this is the time, now. I must make use of that power now.
No, please. What are you going to do?
That marble wall. Straight ahead. I say I can walk through it.
No, please, stop joking.
I will walk through it.
No, Mr. Roth, come back. Don't. Mr. Roth! Mr. Roth! The wall! No!
Who? What?
Mr. Roth! Mr. Roth, he walked through the wall! You hear me? He walked through the wall! You sit there, smug and self-certain, don't you? It couldn't have happened. But listen, you pinhead mind, I tell you it did. I saw it with my own eyes. Mr. Roth walked right toward that marble wall, and he went into it. And then he was gone. Do you hear me? Gone. But I mustn't call you names, make you angry, must I? Because you must come to the bank with me. Yes, I'll tell you more of just what happened on that day.
Now, look, lady, take it easy.
Get out of my way! The wall! He walked through that wall, I tell you! I tell you, he walked through that wall!
Lady, for Pete's sake, please.
He said he'd do it, and he did do it. He walked through that wall. I tell you, he walked through that wall!
Lady, don't make a disturbance.
Let's go with me! Don't hold me back! I've got to get to him! Mr. Roth! I've got to get to Mr. Roth!
Here! What's going on here? What's this disturbance?
Well, this lady, all at once she screamed and now she...
Yes, I've got to get to him! Tell him to let go of me! Mr. Roth, he concentrated his mind. He said he'd walk through that wall, and he did.
What?
Yes, he did.
That's it, Mr. Ciro.
Tell him to let go of me. That wall. Mr. Roth went through that wall.
My dear woman, are you out of your mind?
I've got to go. I've got to get to him. Mr. Roth, I've got to get to...
Keep quiet. Stop making that noise. Stop it. That wall is solid concrete faced with marble. You better go home and stop disturbing the peace. Show that woman to the door, Riggett.
So they put me out. I stood in the street. I didn't know what to do. And then I knew. I would wait there until Mr. Roth came back. And he would come back. He'd gone through that wall, and he must come out on the other side. And now he would walk around the building and come back and meet me there. So I waited.
Good night, George. See you in the morning.
I waited a long time.
Are you waiting for something, lady? The bank's closed, you know. I've seen you standing here ever since I got on my beat, so I thought I'd talk to you.
A long time. It began to rain. I stood there in the rain. Mr. Roth. And then a terrible thought. What if he... I ran to the door of the bank building. It was locked. Let me in! Please let me in! Listen to me! You've got to let me in! Mr. Roth, I've got to get to Mr. Roth!
Hey, lady, what? Don't you know the bank's been closed for hours?
Oh, I don't care! I've got to get in! I've got to get in!
Now take it easy, you. Hey, aren't you the one that's been standing out
here? Let
here?
go of me! Mr. Roth is in there.
Now, lady.
I will get in!
Hey, the door!
Let go of me! Mr. Roth, I've got to get to Mr. Roth!
What's the idea of acting like this?
I will get in!
Kicking the door
I'll kick this door down!
Now you come along
I will
with me.
get in!
Don't
I will!
lady.
I will!
Stop kicking me!
I will!
Look what you've done to the door.
I didn't get in to see Mr. Roth that night. No.
Order in the court! Order in the court! Prisoner will be held for further examination. Next case.
I tried to tell them, Mr. Roth, but no one would listen to me. All night and the next terrible day, no one would listen.
Now, tell me, do you have dreams, Miss Moss?
Asking me questions over and over.
Do you think that people dislike you?
Over and over.
How often have you seen Mr. Roth or other people disappear?
Over and over.
When did you first begin to have these hallucinations?
Over and over. But when I tried to tell them about Mr. Roth, they started to say terrible things to me.
The fact of the matter is, Mr. Roth has disappeared. It is the opinion of the police that he decamped with this woman's money. Yes, took her money and ran off. Yes.
I didn't care what they said. I had to get to the bank. You know why. Mr. Roth had started for the wall, and I had seen him go through it, and he hadn't come around to meet me. So there was only one answer. He was still in the wall. And while Mr. Roth was in the wall, they were keeping me in this hospital. I had to get out.
How are you resting now, Miss Moss? Miss Moss? Where? Window. Nurse! The woman in this room! She's gone out the window! Nurse! Nurse! Miss Moss is gone!
I got away. In the street. Still raining. I ran along the dark streets until I was at the bank. Closed. There was a dark doorway, another building. I hid in the dark and waited all through the night until morning, until they opened the doors of the bank. I went into the bank. I walked toward the wall. That wall. I wanted to run to it, but I walked. Then I was there, the very wall he'd gone into. Mr. Roth? Mr. Roth, are you in there? It's Miss Moss. Ada Moss. Mr. Roth, please, if you're in there, answer me. They'll see me standing here by the walk talking. They won't let me stand here, Mr. Roth, please. I've got my ear close to the wall. If you're in there, answer me. I can hear you. You are in the wall. I was right. You did walk into the wall and stay there. Yes, but what are you saying? I can't understand you. Please, Mr. Roth, speak so I can understand you.
Yes, Mama. Please get me out of here. I'm in the wall. The wall.
Yes, I understand. I will get you out of there. Help! Help! There's a man in the wall! Help me get him out! Mr. Roth, do you hear? I'll get you help. Hurry, people! Bring axes and picks! There's a man in the wall! Mr. Roth is in the wall! They put me back in the hospital. They didn't believe me. They didn't help Mr. Roth. I was very sick. I didn't know how many days I was in the hospital. Then I was all right. They let me out.
And this is your last warning, Miss Moss. You are to stay away from the bank. You are to behave yourself as the good, intelligent citizen you normally are. Your last warning, Miss Moss.
And all the time, Mr. Roth was in that wall, waiting for me to help him. And there was so little time left. A man such as Mr. Roth, powers of concentration, he could and did perform a miracle, walking through a wall. But even conserving his strength and breath in the way he said, slowing down the vital life processes, how long do you think he could live entombed in that wall? I had to get to him. But when I walked by the bank, hiding in the crowd so they wouldn't see me, I saw that there was a policeman there. They put a policeman there just to keep me out. I had to figure out some way to get in there. Tell Mr. Roth to keep alive, that I was working to help him. I had to figure out a way. There's a store across the street. A store selling paint. That was the answer.
Something for cleaning? Why, of course, madam. How much do you think you'll need? Oh, I suggest a pint. Aye, we have it here in bulk. Well, open it? Sure. There. You see, it's standard cleaning fluid. Lady! No, not a match! Look out! Don't! It's flammable! Don't! Help! Fire! Grab that woman! She set fire to the store! Fire!
In a few moments, everyone was so busy that I was quite free to go into the bank. In a few seconds, my ear was against the wall. Mr. Roth, I'm back. They tried to keep me away from you, but I'm back. Mr. Roth, can you hear me? Alive. Oh, you're still alive. Oh, Mr. Roth, what can I do? What?
Help me.
Yes, I will. They won't stop me this time. Get something to tear down the wall. Fire axe off the wall. Mr. Roth, look, if you could see, I've got a fire axe. I'm going to help you. We'll get you out. I will get you out. Yes, I will get you out. The marble's cracking, Mr. Roth. I'll get to you. Get near to you. No one will stop me now.
Lady,
they don't want to help you, but
what
I'm helping
are you doing
you.
here? Give me that axe.
No, you won't stop me. I've got to help, Mr. Roth.
Give me that axe.
Yes. Oh, I'll give it to you.
Oh!
Yes. I told you not to stop me. I told you not to stop me.
Lady, what? The policeman. You've killed the policeman. Help!
Help!
Stop or I'll kill you! I'll kill you! I'll kill you all!
Hand it over.
I've got to get free! Save Mr. Roth! I'll kill you! Stand back! Stand back! I've got to free Mr. Roth! I'm locked up now. They locked me up. You've been my first visitor in weeks. Weeks? Do you know what that means? All these days he's been in that wall holding himself alive with all his will. But sooner or later, if he thinks I'm not going to help him, he'll give up hope, and he'll lose his will to live, and suddenly he'll die. Do you hear me? He'll die. Please, please make them let me go and come and help save Mr. Roth. If you don't help me, it will always be on your conscience, won't it? At night, when you're alone and you can't sleep, you'll open your eyes and you'll see Mr. Roth entombed in that wall. But it won't be Mr. Roth anymore. Just the bones of a man. Bones and dead, decaying flesh. And worms. And the skull will talk to you and ask you, why didn't you help me? So I ask you again, please, please, won't you come to the bank?
Mr. Obler, a man living in a bank wall? Do you really believe that a human being could possibly accomplish such a feat and then keep himself alive by sheer willpower?
Well, Dennis, certain Hindu sects have been able to obtain unbelievable results in the suspension of ordinary human body functions by fasting and complete immobility. In plain talk, they don't eat, they don't sleep, they sit still, and their pulses drop to a point that is normally fatal. The human mind, Dennis, is a deep, dark power whose potentialities only the future will bring to complete fulfillment.
Thank you so much for joining us during this mysterious and unnerving episode of the Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour, right here in the Owen Theater. Special thanks go to Director Don Hampton and the cast and crew of Almost Maine for their gracious permission to share their stage for tonight's performance. Remember, this romantic comedy opens on Friday, January 30th. More details on tickets and our Players Theater Company season can be found at owentheater.com. Tonight's technical credits go to Dick Schisler as sound engineer, who also acted as producer for Lone Star Internet Radio. Our sound effects were performed live and without any recordings. Were recorded live and from scratch without any recordings by Deanna Egley and Sarah Flynn. Commercial announcers included Angeli De Los Santos, Eric Watts, and yours truly, Dennis Nelson. Tonight's episode was directed by Laura Lang. Series producer on behalf of the Players Theater Company was Timothy Eggert. The Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour was created by Craig Campobella and Dick Schisler exclusively for the Players Theater Company. This episode of the Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour was performed live in the Owen Theater in partnership with Lone Star Internet Radio in Conroe, Texas, and was performed on January 18th, 2015, and it was recorded for encore broadcasts. Visit irlonestar.com every month for freshly archived programs like Miracle on 34th Street, which is now available on demand for your listening pleasure. If you are an actor in the Conroe or Greater Houston area, you are invited to audition for our next episode. The audition will be in the Owen Theater on Wednesday, February 4th. Check theplayerstc.com for more information. This upcoming production is the romantic and suspenseful favorite, Spellbound, airing live on Sunday, February 15th at 7 p.m. And be sure to listen for us every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on Lone Star Internet Radio. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Please stay tuned for Lone Star Classical After Dark with Gordon, starting in just a few moments. From the glittering arts district of downtown Conroe, Texas, we wish you a very pleasant evening and joy throughout this new year.
Thanks for listening to Lone Star Radio Hour here on Lone Star Community Radio. Don't forget, the Lone Star Radio Hour airs every Sunday at 7 p.m. on irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you want to join and be part of the Lone Star Radio Hour with your own radio play, contact us today at lscrstudios at gmail.com. We are also looking for support for this time slot, so if you're interested in sponsoring this time slot, contact us again at lscrstudios at gmail.com. And don't forget, this radio play was brought to you by the Players Theater Company in Conroe, Texas. For more information about the Players, please check them out online at owentheater.com/players.